what we're going to do. Do you agree? And so we did not meet in a room with a cup of coffee and donuts. What we did was we talked to each other, sort of like a teleconference, only it didn't happen like all at one time. And Renee Wall explains that to you in her affidavit and in her letter. So please, everyone who's listening, please read Renee Wall's letter and affidavit to get the answers for Mr. Randy Rudrick. And Randy, you've had this information now, so you pretty much have the answers. And you keep asking the questions.
What am I supposed to be reading?
Read.
A6.
Is there a point of clarification? I've asked the secretary to stop the clock just to clarify what document for the people on the phone.
The A4 and A6. Read the letter A4 from Renee Wall, dated January 15. That's A4. And then also A6. And there are other affidavits that speak to this, but there you go.
The secretary, please proceed.
Okay, and there's a minute, 7 seconds left.
Sir.
Since you had no knowledge of the rule, is what you told me.
What rule?
The rule that I suggested that you had violated when I first came to the Kenai, that the districts were to share. The comments that Renee is making were not referred to in anything that you suggested in our meeting in Kenai on the 17th.
Specifically?
30 seconds.
What specifically?
I am not sure that I can continue this conversation. Thank you.
Mr. Riddick has indicated he's done with his cross-examination. At this time, his questions from other SEC members for the next 10 minutes. And I'll ask the secretary to queue up the clock for 10 minutes. Are there any SEC members that have questions?
This is Rex Shattuck in Juneau.
Proceed, Mr. Shattuck.
First, I want to thank Debbie for trying to be as concise as she can and linking all these thoughts together coherently. I did want to ask this question, though. I think she said that her and her husband had no interest in the gas cards, which I'm glad to hear that. But I'm kind of wondering, where did the money come from for those gas cards, and whose gas tanks did the gas go into?
Ms. Brown.
I'll answer. Take a look at Exhibit AA1. It's a very important affidavit from a person named Carmen Clausen.
Okay.
And that's important because it discusses, it explains. I'm going to read it. It's so important. May I?
No. Well, point of clarification.
Number 2. Read that, Rex. Therein lies your answer. And
I have. But I didn't see whose gas tanks the gas went into.
The answer is that it went into. I actually don't have that answer. I'm not. You have to understand that.
Okay.
Rex, let me answer, please. Please, you've got to bear with me.
You just said you didn't have the answer, so I got a follow-up that maybe you can answer.
Rex,
Please proceed.
I am not the record keeper of who got those, who eventually used those cards.
Let him ask the next question.
Yes. So, Ms. Brown, if you want to ask a follow-on question,
Very well.
Rex, please proceed, and Ms. Brown is here waiting for your question.
Okay, just wanted to make sure she got her piece out.
I didn't. I did not,
let's-
actually.
So in the previous meeting that we had, I think it was the individual, your husband, Jack Brown, he had said that this shouldn't be about, how we managed to get, I think it was something like $100, how we managed to gain $100. It should be about the big picture of all the wonderful I was sort of troubling with what happened to the money and the process there. So, but if you say you can't answer that at this point, then that's fine. I'll let somebody
Well,
else.
let me just attempt see if this answers your question, because I'm trying to answer you. District 30 met, as is described in the exhibit AA1, and a group of individuals that you'll read there described how the gas cards that District 30 knew that they would be able to use for Republican business, and they determined that a gas card would be eligible for one gas card per family, which was, I believe they were $50 gas cards, but some of them might have been $25 gas cards. But if you attended as a delegate to the state convention and were duly seated, you had to be officially seated and stay all both days, not run off and get your nails done or your go to the spa or whatever, but you actually performed as a delegate for the 2 days. Some of the people accepted a gas card. Some of them said, I don't want one. I have no idea how many people received a gas card. But
Did you use any of those gas cards?
what's that?
Did you use any of those gas cards?
I did not receive one. I did not receive a gas card at all. I was in nominations committee, and I know many of you know that most of us spent a good deal.
Fine.
Yes, you, Rex. I did not
All right,
receive one.
So at this point, Rex, I'd like to move on to another question. I think this has been handled. And are there any other questions from SEC members?
Boy, this is my only chance to. I hope you all ask
Mr.
questions.
Steve Straight in the room here has indicated he has a question of Ms. Brown. Please proceed.
In listening and reading these documents at the same time, and sometimes I don't get it right, so my apologies. But a large part of your defense in page 1 was that you were not the treasurer.
Yes, I'm female. My name is not Jack. I am Debbie
No,
Brown, and
I
my
understand.
position was not the treasurer.
I understand that.
I was not the chairman. I was nothing
You were
but.
the vice chair.
Yes, and I know what those duties mean.
Okay.
Yes.
So who was the chair at the time?
Of District 34 would be Mr. Doug Blossom.
And was Mr. Doug Blossom part of these conversations in discussing how this money was going to be dispersed or converted to gas
Yes,
cards?
as I said, I believe that I don't know who came up with this idea. I'm learning now the great education, okay? Excellent education. But it was a bad idea. And I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
My next question is, what was Mr. Who was it again that was chair?
Doug Blossom.
Doug Blossom. And
And
what was
he
his
talked-
health? What was
they-
his health at the time? Good, healthy guy. Was he?
He was about, I would say he's about like most of you guys at that age in this room.
Was he going through surgery, or was he incapacitated? Is my question. I'm
At
asking about his.
what, are you talking about a specific point in time or just year in and year out?
During this, when you said, "I'm not the treasurer, my husband is," he's the man.
Correct.
Yeah. You're the vice chair, and
Yes.
and the chair, was he fully participatory in the proceedings of the district, or was he incapacitated?
At the time of this the complaint and all of the matters that are discussed in this complaint,
Yes.
Doug Blossom was 100% involved in communications with my husband and the others. Yes.
Was he acting as chair?
Yes. He was the chairman. He was the chairman the whole time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, with that question, are there any other SEC members that have questions, either on the phone or in the room?
I have one more question.
Please proceed, Mr. Rex Shattuck.
Did I understand correctly that there was some sort of document or some sort of mention previously of an APOC fine at $34,000 or something to that effect?
You may be interested in Exhibit B4. B4 is a letter from Tom Lucas. He is, and it says, "This is to confirm our conversation this morning, dated January 18, wherein I told you that now defunct District 34's APOC filings are now complete and have been complete since January 8, 2010, when we received your faxes of all reports required, including District 34's final report." But I have to answer here, Rex, what,
Is that all the document says?
yes, and you should have a copy of it because it was emailed to you. Alice emailed this entire packet to all of you tonight.
Fine.
What attachment was that?
So there was no fine.
B4, attachment B4.
Last
Yeah.
page.
But what is entirely unkind?
So there's no fine.
What is
What did
entire?
it say?
Oh, there is a fine.
How much?
That fine is very likely, according to Tom Lucas' personal conversation, going to be 100%